Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this live broadcast where we will be discussing, corruption and CDF. Okay, so we are streaming live on the Alliance for Community Action page, Mukuni Village, Mwiza Zulu, and Z Students Power. And thank you for joining us. So tonight we'll be discussing corruption, the management of of CDF rather, and fighting corruption in the utilization of the Constituency Development Fund across the country. Macmillan, thank you for joining us. Good evening.
Thank you so much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm able to get you.
Right. How is Mukuni this evening?
Mukuni is doing well. How are you doing that side?
Okay, so if you're just joining us, this is a special program brought to you by the Alliance for Community Action, where we get to discuss, the management of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, and utilization, as well as, fighting the vices such as corruption in the utilization of CDF, so that more people get to, benefit from this fund. So my guest tonight will be Honorable Lloyd Lubosha-MP for Chifubu Constituency on the Copper Belt, and Mark Besa, Programs Manager for AAZ, and the Vice Secretary, for WDC in Mukuni Ward in Livingstone. So we're just waiting for our guests. If you've got questions around CDF, if you want to know how the CDF is being utilized and how you can fight corruption, if you've spotted corruption in the management of CDF, this is the right platform for you. So kindly share the live broadcast so that more people join the conversation. Okay, so we're just waiting for, okay, he's here. Right. Hello, good evening, Honorable. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, we know that you've got busy schedules and you're still at Parliament, but you've managed to make time and be part of this conversation around, the utilization of CDF in our constituencies, and just to ensure that people get to benefit from the fund as the rightful owners of, these public resources. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So I think we can get started as we wait for our other guest, who is Mark Besa, Programs Manager from AAZ.
Yes.
Okay. I think, Honorable, just starting with you, I think you can just give us a brief background, on the Constituency Development Fund, so that those who may wish to know about the CDF just, get a brief background about the Constituency Development Fund and how it started and where we are now.
Thank you so much. Constituency Development Fund was the money that was started by government to assist members of parliament bring development into their constituencies. Previously, most of the developmental programs were implemented by central government then. Now, sometimes to distribute evenly this development to all the four corners of our country, it was very difficult. So it was realized with passion that there was indeed need for members of parliament who during elections stand on different platforms to promise the people of the development they are going to bring once elected in office, to be given an opportunity of some finances so that they can achieve what they had promised the people. So this brought in the issue of CDF. So CDF is a very important component in the office of the Member of Parliament. This money is given by central government to the Member of Parliament to carry out the developmental projects in his constituency. Now, initially, before the new Dawn administration came into power, CDF was at a value of 1. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Honorable, we are able to hear you. You can go on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Was at a value of 1.6 million. So President Hakainde Hichilema realized that if development was to reach to all corners of our country, there was need then to give the Member of Parliament enough money. So it was thought wise that the Members of Parliament hello? Hello?
Yes, Honorable, we are able to hear you. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah. To be cumbersome and very time-consuming for members of parliament to be going ministry after ministry. If I wanted a clinic in my constituency, I need to go and lobby through the Ministry of Health. I wanted a school, I have to go and lobby through the Ministry of Finance. I want a road to be done in my constituency, I need to go to the Ministry of Infrastructure, maybe and so on. So it was realized that it is important that the members of parliament can be given a certain fund in which they can sustain all their developmental program. And this money came out to be CDF, and it has been increased from a tune of 1.6 million to 25.7 million, and this year now 28.3 million. Now, this CDF has 3 components. Most of the people have a challenge in understanding the composition of CDF. They have a challenge in understanding the composition of CDF. CDF has 3 components. The first component is called Youth, Women, and Community Empowerment. Going by, hello, 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 are you able to hear me?
Yes, Honorable, we can get you. You can go ahead. Yes, we are. We are able to hear you, Honorable. Yes. Yes, we are able to hear you, Honorable. You can go ahead. Okay. Seems like we've lost our Honorable there due to a network glitch. Macmillan, getting to you, I would want to understand how is the implementation of CDF in your ward?
Yeah, when it comes to implementation of CDF, let's talk about community projects. Skills bursaries, boarding school bursaries are very slow. Looking at the rate this system is going, it's not good. It's not good at all. People end up giving up. So if the government can change this system, let the system move at a faster rate, then people will appreciate very much. Are you able to get me?
Yes, I'm able to get you, Macmillan. You can go ahead.
Yes.
Yes,
And
I can
it
hear
is
you.
taking much time. Yes, it is taking much time and people end up giving up. That's the only problem. When it becomes to implementation, the projects are implemented at a low rate. Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Maybe I should get to Honorable. I'm seeing he's back there. Okay. Honorable, getting
Okay.
back to you, and sorry for that network glitch. You mentioned that the UPND government has been increasing CDF in 2022. They increased from 1.6 to 25.3, and then now it's 28 million. Looking at how the increase in CDF, I'm sure it will benefit a lot of people. Maybe just give us an understanding of how is the implementation, in your constituents when it comes to CDF. How is the process? How is the implementation process in your constituents?
Thank you so much. First, number one, before I get to the implementation process of CDF, I want
Yes.
to state that CDF has three components. Most of our people feel that the whole 25.7 million kwacha is given for the implementation of the project, which is not true. So at this stage, I want to educate my people that CDF has three components. Component number one is youth, women, and community empowerment, which has an amount of 5 million kwacha. Then there is also the skills development and bursaries, which has a component of 5 million kwacha. And now the 15 million kwacha is reserved for the implementation of the projects in my constituents. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Honorable, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much.
We can hear you.
Yes, we have 15 million that is left to the implementation. Number one, we had a lot of challenges when we started with CDF. And this has delayed most of the projects like in my constituents that should have started and been completed within a period of 1 year. So in the first 1 year, we were still grappling as a constituents to understand the procedures and embark on the process of completing these procedures from Ministry of Local Government to Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Finance, until we completed all the processes and the project now are at implementation stage. I want to announce that from all the three components of CDF in Chifubu constituency, they are on course. Number one, we have done all the skills to a tune of 1,350 students were sponsored in 2022, and the whole 5 million has been exhausted. From the empowerment, which has a component of loans and grants. The grants are the component of about 2 million kwacha, and the loans are the component of 3 million kwacha. We have dispersed all the grants to the deserving cooperatives in the constituents to a tune of 88 have benefited. And the major beneficiaries from the cooperatives within the constituency have been the cooperatives that came from most of our major markets in the constituency. So the grants, the bursaries and skills have also been dispersed and implemented completely for 2022. But the project delayed because the process was quite long. However, we completed the process. Contracts were awarded to deserving contractors. And as I'm talking now, the contractors are on site and some of the projects have even been completed. Let me just go quickly through the list of the projects that we are embarked on as the Chifubu constituency. Number one, we have done a 1x3 classroom block at Pamozi Basic School. We have also done 1x3 classroom block at Kaniki Basic School. We have also done a clinic in Pamozi Ward with a maternity wing. As you may be aware, the president has said there shall be no member of parliament who shall construct a clinic without a maternity wing. So adhering to the presidential order and demands, we have done a clinic with a maternity wing at Twatasha, a clinic with maternity wing in Kanyanje. We have also reconstructed the Chifubu local court that was gutted by fire 5 years ago. We have done the reconstruction. As I am talking now, Chifubu local court is at roof level. They are currently now roofing Chifubu local court. What was gutted at Chifubu local court was not the main local court, but the administrative block of Chifubu local court. Now, we gave our people a bonus. We have reconstructed the Chifubu local court.
Yes, Honorable, we can get you. You can go ahead.
Which we intend to serve as a magistrate court. And this also is at roof level. Twatasha Clinic and maternity wing is at roof level. The maternity has been roofed already. They are doing the plumbing and the electricals. The clinic, they'll be doing the roofing. Kanyanje is also progressing well. So I mentioned that a project we have done, a 1x3 classroom block at Kaniki. To Atasha Clinic in Pamoing. We are also doing Kanyanje Clinic in Kanyanje Ward. We are doing a police post at Chifubu Market. We are also doing a market shelter and an ablution block at Tambalale Market. We have also done Fiesta Road. We have also done Kaunda Square Road. These are some of the projects that are currently going on in the constituency. We have done very, very well. Apart from that, we have also acquired 669 desks for schools. Already, 6 schools have received the desks, 50 in each school. And this weekend, as I leave Parliament to go to the constituents to celebrate with the Youth Day, we will also be giving the next 4 deserving schools with the desks that have been procured. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight, Honorable Lloyd Lubosha. So if you're just joining us, this is a special program on the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, and how we can fight corruption, in the management of this fund, because we, the people, are the rightful beneficiaries of this money. We are also joined by Mark Besa Ngoma from Triple AZ, who is the programs manager. He will be part of this conversation. I think I can now hand over to the host. I was your co-host, Chanda Chongo, and I'll be handing to Josias Moore from Livingstone. And kindly share the video so that more people join the conversation. Thank you. Over to you, Josias.
Thank you so much, and we were very late to the program because of internet connectivity here and there. I don't know, it's because I'm putting on the Manchester United jersey, but anyway, that was just on a lighter note. Like Chanda mentioned, we are discussing corruption in the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. And we're very glad to mention that this episode, like the previous one and the last one remaining, sponsored by the Alliance for Community Action, ACA. And of course, we're coming live on several pages. We are live on Mukuni Village. We're live on the Alliance for Community Action, ACA Facebook page. We're live on Muiza Zulu. We're also live on Z Students Power. We're live on the ACA's Twitter and YouTube channels. We're also live on Chanda Medley Chongo plus Muuba Gabriel Josias. Let me invite you, Besa, to chip in, even as you have just joined. For the sake of that, for the sake of those that are getting Triple AZ for the very first time, what do you do to start with? Seems Besa is unable to. Macmillan, we know that you are the vice secretary in the ward, in your ward, that is Mukuni ward. What are people saying about CDF so far in Mukuni ward?
Thank you so much, Josias, for hosting me on this platform. Now, when it comes to implementation of community projects, in addition to that, let's talk about skills bursaries. Boarding school bursaries are very, very slow. Very, very slow. It is taking much time, and people end up, giving up. So the rate at which these things are moving at is not good at all. So people are complaining much on this issue. Are you able to get me?
Sorry, we missed what you were saying. If you could kindly repeat, you were cutting a bit. Your microphone is mute. Kindly unmute your microphone. You are muted. Okay.
Okay, now, when it comes to implementation of community projects, skills bursaries, school boarding bursaries, the system at which these things are going at is very slow. And people end up giving up, more especially when it comes to skills bursaries. Now, from the time when people applied for skills bursaries, if I recall very well, it was somewhere around somewhere November, December. Up to this time, we don't know what is happening. And people are complaining, when are we going to school? When are we going to do our skills? So we don't know what is happening. Does it mean that, people will not go or what? We don't know what is happening. We need a feedback when people will go, because it is us who are on the ground, and people are almost every day people are attacking us. From the time we applied up to now, we don't know what is happening. So it is giving us a very big headache. It's hell, giving us hell.
Just a follow up on that one. When you say people are attacking you, and that this whole process, this whole situation is giving you, as a WDC, a headache, one tends to wonder now, what is the role of the WDC when it comes to the implementation of CDF?
Hello?
I'm asking, what are your roles as the Ward Development Committee when it comes to the implementation of CDF? At what points do you come in?
Us as the WDC or Ward Development Committee, without the endorsement of the WDC, no application can be accepted by the CDF committee. Our role is to prioritize projects according to the demand of the community. Okay, as a WDC, we also engage the community in identifying projects. We don't impose any projects that should be funded, no. Always the community. We work hand in hand with the community. Never a time we decided which project should be funded, not at all. There is no such a thing. Every time we engage the community in identifying the projects, when we prioritize the projects, we hand over to the CDF committee. That's our role. We don't
mind this point of view. Mark Besa, let me try to invite you now. Honorable, maybe as we wait for the two to rejoin again, let me find out from you. Has CDF benefited the intended target or beneficiaries in your constituency? Honorable, your microphone is muted. Kindly unmute your microphone.
Okay.
Thank you so much. My question was that has CDF reached the intended beneficiaries in your constituency, and is it the right tool for development?
Yes, CDF has been a game changer. And like I said in my preamble, it has benefited the intended people in the constituency. Number one, CDF has three components. Projects are being seen in the constituency. So meaning benefits are trickling to the intended people who are the members of the constituency. Already 2 clinics are constructed at roof level. The gutted local court has been done. The roads have been done. We have seen a police post coming up. And we have sent over 350 youths into various skills centers across the country. So to me, I will be agreeing that CDF has reached the intended targets, although the component people would say they have benefited has always been the grants. Now, when you look at the grant component from the 25 million, it only stands at less than at about 1.9 million kwacha in 2022. So 1.9 million kwacha to be distributed to the entire constituency may not be enough. So meaning there were more cooperatives that applied, which did not benefit. We had about almost 500 cooperatives that applied. But from the money, from the allocation of money, we only managed to give about 88 cooperatives in the constituency. That in itself indicated that money was what? Money reached the intended targets.
Thank you so much. Now, much as let me just chip in, Honorable. Much as you claim that CDF has reached the intended beneficiaries, you've highlighted some of the areas that CDF is focusing as of now. But many feel that the ongoing implementation of the Constituency Development Fund is without concerns of corruption. How is it when it comes to the implementation of CDF in your constituency?
The most important thing people must appreciate, number one, is at this stage, the process of CDF starts with the WDC. The WDC are the foundation of CDF. They are the people who identify the projects in the community. And they are the people who select the beneficiaries of loans and grants. Once these are selected by the WDC and projects are selected by the WDC, and those who are going for skills and bursaries are also selected by the WDC, then the documents are passed to the CDF committee. The CDF committee will review the documents from the WDC and compare with the available funds in each category. Like I said, there are categories. In the grants, we have 5 million. In the bursaries, we have 5 million, 15 million in the projects. So sometimes the projects that the WDC will submit may not be equal to the amount of money available. So it becomes the responsibility of the CDF committee to sit, to say how many projects. Probably maybe we have 5 projects that we are doing. And each project is costing 3 million kwacha, 3 million kwacha. So which means in the 15 million available, we'll only be able to do the 5 projects. And these projects, we share them equally, word by word. So sometimes there are other constituencies that have more words. Maybe you are going to find that, for example, Chifubu Constituency has 7 words. And the projects that we need to undertake equal to the amount of money available for projects is only allowing 5 projects. So in that case, we will select the words that have immediate needs to take up the projects that are a priority in those first 5 words. Then the other 5 words will go without what? Projects. Then you undertake these projects. Then from CDF committee, the papers are passed on to the Minister of Local Government for approval. The Minister of Local Government will approve the papers. After they are approved, they come back now to the local authority, which is supposed to be a city council or a municipal council, depending on the situation. Now, the municipal council, if will now start the implementation. For the projects now will go to the tender and procurement department, where they will start the process of tendering or advertising these projects. And after these projects are advertised, the tender procedures and whatever rules and regulations that are involved in this department are accomplished. And it is the technocrats at that level, the members of parliament, WDC, and CDF committee, they back out. It will now be the experts at council level now to select who will do the project at that level, depending on the documents that you have submitted. Do they meet the selection criteria? Do they have the qualifications? Are all the documents there? Did they bid well? They will review all these until the tender committee will select the final and winning bidder who will now win the contract. Once the contractors are selected, contract forms will be prepared and they will be sent to Ministry of Finance through to the Ministry of Finance, where the Secretary to the Treasurer has to sign. Then from Secretary to Treasurer, Treasury, they are taken to the Ministry of Justice for the Attorney General to append the final signature. Once the Attorney General appends the final signature after reviewing the contract and is satisfied, he signs. Then the document are sent back to the local council. The council now will prepare certificate of possession to allow now the contractors to move on site. So this is the process the projects go through. Now, when you say corruption in CDF, it would be very difficult for me to spot the stages at which corruption would occur per se, to say at tendering procedure corruption would be there, because I am not a member at that stage, unless maybe you have some information of at what stage from the stages
most
of implementation.
of the times, and these are stories that are ongoing, because of the majority power that a member of parliament has when it comes to the composition of the CDF committee. There are allegations that sometimes you, as members of parliament, you superimpose who should benefit what in different stages. For example, here is a member of parliament that would say, let this individual benefit from either empowerment or a cooperative without necessarily them being in possession of these documents?
I think at that stage, I stand to disagree with you in the sense that a member of parliament does not have much power in the implementation of CDF. Like I clearly stated, for example, when a cooperative is formed, it is the WDC who guide, and they submit those cooperatives to us. The member of parliament is at CDF committee. The role of the CDF committee, we don't even touch money. The CDF committee does not touch money. Yes, we appreciate the members of the CDF committee. Some of them are signatories to the CDF account. But at that stage, there is no money that is touched, and the member of parliament is not a signatory. He only appears also to have a say in the manner the projects have been selected. And for example, if there is a cooperative that has come, I may not know even the members, the members of such a cooperative at that stage, because the people who pick these cooperatives are not members of parliament. They are members of the WDC, who will select the cooperatives and send them to CDF committee. The role of the CDF committee, we do not bring in additional cooperatives at CDF. No, all the cooperatives come through the WDC. So we select. The only role of the CDF committee at that stage is to reconcile the money available for empowerment under grants and the number of cooperatives that have come. At that stage, even the members of the cooperative, the CDF committee does not know them. The people who know the members of these cooperatives are usually the WDC, who are at the initial stage. So at that stage, the member of parliament has very little to do. And in most of the cases, you find that in some of these meetings, members of parliament are not even available. Sometimes we are represented by our professional assistants from the office of the MP. He's the one who will be there just to see how the CDF committee and how the CDF committee will deliberate to see how many cooperatives will come from this ward, how many cooperatives will come from this ward, and then they would be able to reconcile those and then select those cooperatives, and they will go.
Thanks so much, Honorable. We will be getting to the comment section in a little while. You are free to drop your comments, contributions, or questions, and be rest assured that the panel will give you adequate response with regards to what you want to find out. Once again, we're discussing corruption in the utilization and management of the Constituency Development Fund. The episode is brought to you by the Alliance for Community Action. Macmillan, it's now a year and a half, close to not a year and a half, a year and getting into the first quarter of 2023, where we are using these new guidelines for CDF. The question is, the Honorable has highlighted quite a lot of what is involved at what stage, and he recognizes the fact that you as WDC are very key because you are the primary source of all the processes. What are some of the challenges as WDC you are facing so far in the ongoing implementation of the Constituency Development Fund?
Thank you so much. That's a very, very, very wonderful question. Now, we are facing some challenges as a WDC or Ward Development Committee. Now, one of the challenges is that when people apply, when people apply, let's say for grants, people apply for loans. Sometimes if they do not meet the criteria, the applications are left out. That's a major reason. If you don't meet the criteria, meaning you miss out, and people will start complaining. Does it mean that maybe you sidelined our application, or maybe you did not submit our application? So that one has been our challenge. Some people did not meet the criteria when they were applying. Now the applications were left out. Are you able to get me?
Yes, please. You can go on. Go on.
Yes, please. And sometimes people don't follow CDF guidelines. Hence, some applications are not approved. If they don't follow CDF guidelines, the applications may not be approved. So now, for the application to be approved, you have to follow CDF guidelines and meet the criteria.
Obviously,
so now, if you are left also out,
continue.
Yes, please. Hello? Yes, please. So I think that's one of the reasons. Hello? Yes, that's one of the major reasons. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why people are attacking us.
Now, looking at
that criteria.
Challenge, looking at that challenge that you have highlighted, there, I want to believe that before people begin to submit, or before calls are made to submit proposals or names of, possible consideration under a particular project, I want to believe that there is always information dissemination. Then the question is, what are you doing as WDC committee to sensitize people on what they need to know about what particular project or what particular part of CDF? Do people have the right information? If they do not, what are you doing as a committee to ensure that people have the right information?
Thank you so much for that question. Giving out the information to the community. We also have, and this one, it is a very big challenge. Some people, they have connections to the big people up there. When we tell them to follow the CDF guidelines, let's say for a grant, you go up to 40,000, you don't exceed. A loan, you go up to 200,000. But some people, they would want to overlap. They want to go beyond. And then when you tell them to say, follow these guidelines, no, there's nothing that you can tell me. I've talked to the so what? So who are you to tell me what to do? So people get information from different people. So this is becoming a problem to us. We've been given CDF guidelines to tell the people out there, to tell the community. But just because somebody has a connection, somebody is with somebody, so it's not good.
When you say Macmillan, for the sake of this discussion, let us thank you so much. For the sake of this discussion, let us try to also highlight, when you say someone is connected higher, can we say maybe the office of the Member of Parliament or any authority? In this case, are people talking to members of Parliament for them to benefit at a faster rate than the rest of the people? The question is, who are
I'm not getting clearly.
Yeah, the question is, who are these people talking to?
People from the high authority, people who are above us. We've been given a mandate. We've been given guidelines to tell the people. Now, just because somebody has a connection from the high authority. I've talked to the so. Then who are you to tell me this? We've been having such issues. Follow these guidelines.
All right, thank you, Macmillan. Let's
And
get
you
back
don't
to
want
you,
to
Honorable.
follow. Who are you to tell me
Macmillan,
what to do?
Sure, thank you so much, Honorable. Let me get your reaction over this, and I'm happy that this has just come out from someone who's on the ground, WDC, like you said, the primary stage of all the stages that are involved in the implementation of CDF. He feels, and this is what the rest of the committee feel that, for example, when people want to access various areas of the CDF, the committees are trying to give them the right information on what is needed to be done, for example, under empowerment. But then these different individuals or groupings are telling the committee that, what can you tell me? I have already spoken to so and so. But earlier you refuted such claims, Honorable. Your microphone is muted. You can kindly unmute your microphone.
Situations vary from constituents to constituents. Number one, it is the primary responsibility of a member of parliament and the WDC councillors to join their efforts together before the implementation of CDF, to go around the community to sensitize them on each and every component of the CDF, so that they would be able to understand, appreciate, and have information on how it is supposed to be done. For my brother there, who is a WDC member, if he has had challenges, it's a clear indication that him and the councillor and the members of parliament in that constituency, probably they did not do much sensitization to the people, because there is no way out a person can come to refute that you cannot give me 40,000, give me 60,000 or 100,000 from the grants, where he's pretty sure that the CDF guidelines have a ceiling of 40,000 to be given to a cooperative. That's the highest they can give. Then he comes to claim that he wants 60 or 70,000. Then it means there was no much sensitization on the on part of the member of parliament, councillors, and WDC. What we did in Chifubu constituency, we embarked on a campaign to go around constituency by constituency with the members of the WDC, councillors, to go and explain the components of CDF, explain the guidelines of CDF, how they are supposed to apply, how much they can apply, what is the limit they can apply up to, and explain all these issues, to the extent that our WDC are not confronted with such problems like the one my brother there are facing at this stage. So the best they can do is, the WDC have a responsibility during this period before implementation to go around the community, sensitize the people on the importance of the guideline, and provide information to the people, such that now when it comes to the implementation process of the CDF, then they will not confront those problems. Maybe I'll end.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Let's get to, sure. Can go on. Okay, let's try to get to the comment box now, and we try to find out, maybe just a request to each one of us that are dropping comments. It would be very helpful if, as you comment, try to help us by also putting down the constituents you belong to, so that it's very easy for me and my panel to attend to you. amicably. But we do have a comment, and well, there are several comments, but let me try to read from bottom going up. Alexander Junior Chintu says CDF is a serious matter that us Zambians need to talk about and the way forward. CDF has said form cooperatives and people form those groups, but for them to get that money, it's a problem. The CDF committee that we have put in place, they are also dormant because at the end, the community have started thinking to say there is no CDF. Roads are bad. When we complain, we will release the money soon. This is really bad. Let the government look into this. Let them lessen the red tape. The comment could have continued. Honorable, I have a feeling this person is from your constituency, because I've seen quite a number of them commenting from Chifubu constituency. Your reaction to that comment? Again, your microphone is muted. I would ask that you unmute your microphone.
It is indeed very, very important to apply it that you are going to be selected. Like I said, from the 25 million, when people the whole 25 million is supposed to be given as grants. First, number one, people must appreciate that in the 25 million, you only have about 2 million for grants. Now, when you look at the number of cooperatives that are applying, if I was to divide 40,000 into 2 million, just that I don't have a calculator here. Just on the head, we cancel 3 zeros there. We remain with 2,040 into 2,000. It will go there about, is it 50? It's 50. So you are going to find that maybe about 100 or 200 cooperatives. Then the money available for this year can only accommodate cooperatives that are about 100 or 200. The application that you have received, maybe there are about 700 applications against 200 slots. So you have to pick 200 out of 700 and leave 500 cooperatives. So the people in the 500 cooperative, they will complain to say, is the people in the community or the intended targets are not benefiting from the CDF. So that's what has been a challenge. The money that is supposed to be given in the CDF so in this 2 million kwacha, it will be to accommodate almost 900 cooperatives. Maybe, for example, the last time we had 500 cooperatives, and we only managed to give about 88 cooperatives. So those that remained, they stand to complain. Again, the other issue is the ceiling is 40,000. If we say we give 2020, those who applied for 40, they start complaining to say, what are we going to do with the 20? All those have been challenges. So the money for grants has not been enough to cater for the demand in the constituents. And this is the more reason you have heard such complaints. People saying, no, there is corruption, there is what, probably people who are picked. Sometimes we do even a raffle in the meeting to say which cooperatives will go here. You raffle, you pick some. Maybe 100 and you have 5 constituencies. You are going to have 20 cooperative per ward. You have 100 slots and then you have 5 wards. So you have to give 20 slots for each ward. And in each ward, maybe you have 200 applications. which again becomes a challenge to those who remain without benefiting from the CDF. And this has been a more reason why some people have been complaining to say CDF has not benefited many. So the benefits of CDF, do not only arise from, they do not only arise from the grants. If a person has not benefited from the grant, there is also a benefit from a community project. Because where there was a police station, if there is no police station, then security services are provided in your community, you are a beneficiary. If there were no desks in schools, and the party would not just view a benefit from CDF as just when you get a grant through a cooperative or you get a loan through the loans. No, benefits in the cooperative, they range from the services that are being provided, from projects that are being constructed in the constituents. If we are constructing a police post where there was no police post, then we know that security services have come to that particular area. Benefits have accrued to the people. If we build a clinic where there was no clinic, we know that quality of services will be provided to such a ward or an area where there were no clinics. So when we say benefits, it's not just in money form, it is not just in monetary terms, it may also come in form of services that will be provided once these projects that are being undertaken in most of the constituencies are completed. I end there.
Thanks so much, Honorable. Just a follow-up. Stu, there. This was just very different from what the previous viewer said. So, Memory Chulukutu says, Honorable Lubosha, I think in this case it has nothing to do with sensitization, but pure corruption. If the CDF guidelines are clear, why are they being ruled out in the release of grants if there is a threshold to be adhered to? And just last week, we did have your Katombola counterpart, Clement and Derek, and I asked them if at all these different CDF committees are fully equipped with the guidelines of CDF. Do they understand the guidelines of CDF, Honorable? The CDF committees, and I want you to particularize your committee in this case.
Come again. I think there was no network. I didn't pick your question.
I read a comment from one of our followers, Memory. She says she thinks that whatever the happenings are ongoing have nothing to do with lack of sensitization, but pure corruption. And this is what she says: if the CDF guidelines are clear, why are they being ruled out in the release of grants if there is a threshold to be adhered to? Now, added to that, I said last week I did have Katombola MP, Clement and Deleke, and I asked him, when it comes to implementation, do these committee understand the guidelines, or sometimes they just choose not to adhere to the guidelines?
Sometimes, when you look at the grants, and the main area of concern amongst most of our members has been the grants. And we have said the amount of grant is not enough to sustain the entire population in the constituency. Those who have benefited, they'll become praise singers of CDF. Those who have not benefited, they will cite corruption to say this is a more reason why they have not benefited. You are going to find that at this stage, you have 2 million kwacha. 2 million kwacha. If you divide It's unfortunate I don't have a calculator. If there is a calculator somewhere, do you have a calculator with you there? If you divide 40, 2,000 divide by 40, what are we getting there? Hello? Do you have a calculator nearby? We are saying 2,000.
You can go on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Honorable.
Yes, you are getting me? Yes, I'm saying, for example, what you are saying is, we are saying 2,000 kwacha. If you divided 2 million, you divided by 40,000, you are getting 50 cooperatives. So now you have 50 cooperatives. Here is Momoli who is saying, if there is a threshold to which you are supposed to adhere to, that every cooperative is supposed to get 40. You are getting me there? You are getting me?
On.
Are you?
Yes.
You are getting
Yes,
me
yes,
now?
yes.
So what we
Yes.
are saying in his memory, who is saying, if I apply for 40,000, for example, why would they give me a 30? Because there is a threshold. She feels they have stolen a 10 from there, or there are some form of underhand methods. Sometimes when we see, when the cooperative sits, when the CDF committee sits, you look at 2 million divided by 40, then only 50 cooperatives will benefit. And if we go ahead to give these 50 cooperatives in the entire constituency, when there were 500 cooperatives that are, those 450 who will not benefit from 500 that applied, they are going to say there is what? Corruption. Why those 50 have been picked and we have been left out? So sometimes maybe to widen on the number, sometimes we say, okay, maybe let's have a ceiling instead of a 40. We can give each cooperative 20. Then we call those who applied to say the money is not enough. If we give 40, we will give 50 cooperatives. Maybe let's go for 100 cooperatives. So that in the 2 million, you will divide, if you divide 20,000 by 2 million, it will give you what? It will give you 100. So that at least the number of beneficiaries can increase. So meaning those who applied for 40 because they have gotten a 20, so that we can widen the number of beneficiaries. They will stand to complain to say, no, there is corruption in the CDF. And those are some of the challenges we have faced as people in the CDF. Unless otherwise you agree that if you want to agree with memory to say, if there is a 40, if it is a 40, just give 50 and forget about the 450 who have remained. It's their fault. Okay, that's the money that is available. But you tend to have a human face where you tend to say, no, the people in my constituency, there should be more beneficiaries in this national cake. Maybe by distributing to say, let everyone have a touch of the CDF. Let's give maybe 10 per cooperative so that we can have more cooperatives. Because if we give 10, we are going to have about how many? 200 cooperatives benefiting. If we are going to give 10, if we give 40, we get 50. Which one is better? Sometimes you say, certain decision, this is where you say, the cost outweigh the benefits. So sometimes this is where you have seen some of the changes coming in the amount of money people applied for. Sometimes we want to increase the number of beneficiaries.
Thanks so much, Honorable. Let's get back to the Ward Development Committee. And I'll keep on referring this, but I'm very glad that you recognized the very important role that these Ward Development Committees play in the full implementation of the of CDF. Are these committees funded to undertake their activities, Honorable?
According to the CDF guideline, there is no money that is given, no allowances are given to the WDC committees. That is given, no allowances. In most of the cases, the WDC, they are only assisted with the stationery. You would find that through the office of the Member of Parliament, we prepare the stationery or the forms and everything so that they are given to people who collect the forms from the office of the member of parliament or from council. Then they'll fill them in, and then they will take to the WDC where they stay. And the WDC will sign on the forms and collect the forms and then submit them to the CDF committee. So sometimes that's how the procedure to lessen the cost on part of the WDC. We allow the beneficiaries to come through and collect forms and fill them in, and then take them to the hand them to the WDC. At the point of handling, that's where the WDC assesses the documents that are there, if they qualify for what they are applying for. If they do, they will sign the form and then keep the form. If they do not qualify, they will be given further instruction what to do for them to qualify for what they are applying for. I think that's the stage how these things are moved.
Thanks so much. Let me get testimony from Macmillan. How easy is it for you, Macmillan, as WDCs to be assisted by local authorities in the areas that Honorable Lubosha has highlighted so far, acknowledging that the Act, which is the CDF Act, does not, provide for your people, that is the Ward Development Committees, to be funded. Now, you are assisted through the local authorities and the offices of the members of parliament. How easy is it for you to get such resources, such as stationery, from the points or sources that he has highlighted? So, the case of Kazongola district.
Mr. Lloyd Lubosha has explained it very well. That's the way it is, but we've not done that before as a committee. We've not applied on that before.
Thank you so much. You can continue dropping us your comments. We shall continue reading them. In case you have a question, contribution, feel free to get into the comments part, and then we shall be glad to read your comments. We are discussing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund, in particular also highlighting how we as people can fight corruption in the management and implementation of CDF. These episodes are brought to you or sponsored by the Alliance for Community Action, ACA, Zambia. Honorable Lubosha, people have highlighted lots of gray areas that they feel need to be attended to. In your constituency, how can people hold your committee accountable should they feel there are concerns that need to be attended to?
Time and again, we have asked members of the community to push in their contribution, and we have held meetings across the constituents to see how best. Like as I'm talking now, Saturday, I will be holding a youth meeting at Chifubu Secondary School. 200 youths will be in attendance to see how best they can participate in the CDF and what are some of the challenges they have faced in accessing CDF and what do they feel should be done for them to benefit from the CDF. So I'm holding a meeting of 200 youths at Chifubu Secondary School on Saturday, this coming Saturday after tomorrow, Friday. We are holding a youth meeting for about 200 youths have been invited. So this is where now we want to get, this is where we are bringing the people closer to see how accountable the CDF committee has been in Chifubu constituency, because members of the CDF committee will be present in this meeting. The member of parliament will be present in this meeting, and we will collect these submissions. From these submissions, we will analyze them. And from the analysis that we are going to keep, This information will be a bedrock for me to debate in Parliament as we will be amending the CDF Act, I'm sure, next month. So the community are free to make submissions. The community are free to invite me as member of Parliament on different forums to see how best my team can be accountable for whatever is happening in the CDF. So the committee is very, very free. We have met with several stakeholders from the community, the church, the youths, people from different walks of life have come to meet me and my CDF committee to see how best they can also benefit from the CDF committee. This is how we have opened the door to allow the CDF committee to be accountable.
All right.
And the most important thing our people must appreciate is that the CDF committee is not the final is not a final decision making body in the process of CDF. They only scrutinize what the WDC have done, and we submit them to the minister. From the minister, they go to Attorney General, they go to other offices for approval. So meaning that even if the CDF committee, they have said it should be held accountable, it has very little to do in terms of making the decision on what is going to happen, because these documents are submitted to other offices. The minister is there in the process of checking what the CDF committee has done. If the minister is not happy, they have the right to disapprove. Or if there are any extra complaint from the community over some of the decisions that have been made by the CDF, they have the right to appeal through the Minister of Local Government, who is able to nullify some of the decisions the CDF committee has made.
Thank you very much. There is a report which Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, did, and basically a general report on the implementation of CDF, and they give recommendations at the end. One of the recommendations, which is very key according to TIZ, is that they propose reviewing of the CDF Act, and that in the Act there should be a clause where committee members of the CDF should be voted for, as opposed to being appointed by members of Parliament to deter potential abuse. Would you, as a member of Parliament, side with TIZ in this proposal?
The answer is no. The reason why I will not agree with TIZ, if we said the members of the CDF committee should be voted for, what will be the electoral college of who would be voted in the process of selecting these members of the CDF committee? We are already talking about shortening the process in order to allow the CDF committee, in order to allow our people access CDF. Again, going for that process of electing CDF committee members will be another process, and it has its own challenges. For example, who will be involved in electing the CDF committee? Are we going to ask the entire constituency so that we can hold elections like we are electing members of Parliament? Is that a process? Where are we going to get the money to fund the election? Already the money in the CDF is not enough. So that recommendation to me is a misplaced priority. So at this stage, yes, at this stage, once again, the CDF committee, from the primary objective of the establishment of the CDF committee, this was money that was given to the office of the Member of Parliament to bring development to the constituency. If again the Member of Parliament, in terms of power, is going to be reduced in handling the CDF or making decisions on what should be done in the CDF by bringing in people who are going to oppose what a Member of Parliament is going to say, there is going to be a challenge to a Member of Parliament. Such a Member of Parliament is going to be a non-performer. Because me as a Member of Parliament, I am the person who is accountable to the people of Chifubu constituency. They voted for me because they want water. They voted for me because they want desks. They voted for me because they wanted health facilities. Now here you give me people in the CDF who are going to object to buying desks. So they do something else, or maybe they say because we want to do a road, they take money to a road. And those people are going to say, aha, the MP, we told him we wanted desks in schools, and he has not bought desks. I'll be voted out. And we are going to see what we call labor turnover in the office of the Member of Parliament, because the Member of Parliament will have no power. So suggestingly, me as a Member of Parliament, if they say they want to control the CDF, then let them remove the CDF from the office of the Member of Parliament and take it to council, so that council can handle the CDF, so that the MP will be telling the people to say, go to council. Because it's like people are not comfortable with the MP being in charge of CDF. Then let the money go back to central government, or take money to council, so that council can handle the CDF, the MP can be free. So whatever they want, if they want water, they'll tell them, I'll tell my people that go to council and submit all your proposal, council will bring water. And will that work? The answer, it will not work. Because even from the equalization fund that is coming from central government, collections that are being done from various sources of funds, the council has failed. Councils have failed. Councils have failed their people everywhere. Today, when you go, garbage is all over. Today, when you go in most of these constituencies, glass is stored. There is nobody to slash. But these are the people you want to bring and handle CDF. You want to remove a directly elected Member of Parliament who has an obligation to which the people of the constituency will cry to. You want to sap the powers. You want to reduce the powers of the Member of Parliament in the CDF committee. Then
Thank you so much, Honorable Lubosha. I can't
CDF is not providing the intended. Hello?
Yes, go on. Go on,
Yes,
I can hear you now. Go on.
Yes, what we are saying is CDF was meant for the office of the Member of Parliament, because a Member of Parliament is a person who is directly involved with the people. And I'm accountable to the people of Chifubu. Those are my bosses. What they say is what I'm supposed to follow. Now, if in the CDF committee, the power to decide what should be done in the constituency is removed from me, and we vest it into another elected committee to be making decision on the behalf of Chifu, then did the people elect the CDF committee, or they elected a Member of Parliament? Because me, I will hear the cry of the people of Kamba. I will hear the cry of the people of Kamba that they want water. So I have to plan, meet the people of Kamba and the WDC, we sit with them. From CDF, can you factor the cries of the people as a project, so that we can do the pipe and the people of Kamba can have water? The people of Mitengo, as we are talking now, they are grappling with two challenges. One of them is water. Number two is they don't have a police station. Number three, they don't have a clinic. Despite having sites in place, these things are not done. Now, if you take other people to come and handle CDF, they are not going to look at the plight of the people of Mitengo. The people of Mitengo voted for Honorable Lubosha. It is for this reason that I want to take advantage of this platform to inform the people of Mitengo that your clinic and the police post is coming in 2020-23 CDF. You are the next beneficiaries in the 2023 for the police post and the clinic. These other words benefited. Kanikiwad under Mitengo, they did not benefit. So my humble appeal is the recommendation for So the recommendation from Transparent International, no, I don't agree with it, because you are depriving the people of their representation. The power of the people of Chifubu is vested in me. When there is garbage, they call me. They don't call the council. When there is garbage, they don't call the people from the community. They call the MP. It is for this reason that the MP must have control over CDF. Thank you.
So much, Honorable Lubosha. Just a
Okay,
follow-up.
sorry, just ask before you come in. Honorable, looking at the issue that you have raised, disagreeing with Transparency International's recommendation that the CDFC should be voted. I want to find out from you, like, how often do you meet with the CDFC in ensuring that the people of Chifubu constituency benefit from the fund? How often do you meet with the CDF committee?
Thank you so much. Maybe just one additional contribution. Number one, when you elect a president of the Republic of Zambia, for him to carry out the national mandate in that office, he needs a cabinet. So what Transparent International is suggesting is almost telling the country to say, we want cabinet ministers to be elected by the people. So if cabinet ministers are to be elected by the people, not appointed by the president, then it would mean the president will be unable to perform, because the president needs to choose who is competent. The people are not the one who can choose who is competent. That's why sometimes the CDF Act gave the member of parliament to appoint 3 people in the CDF committee. The committee sometimes has 12 people. The MP appoints 4. 1 is a councillor, then 3 are members of the community. Then others are directors 3 are directors from the local authority. There is also a chief. There is also the slot for the chief. So, meaning that the presence of those 3 or 4 appointed, 3 appointed members of the CDF committee have no much influence on what will be happening in the CDF committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Just an addition also in form of a recommendation. Would you, as a member, I want you to be very honest on this one. You again, I'll refer you back to the WDC. You recognize that they are very important, very, very important.
Correct.
Suppose there is a process to review the CDF Act. Would you recommend that in the Act there is a clause that then gives opportunity for these WDC to be funded in order for them to effectively carry out their duties?
Yes, WDC are major stakeholders in the implementation process of CDF. If the resources are available, I would recommend that they should be funded for them to carry out their works effectively and in record time. Because as things stand, when I look at Chifubu constituency, which is an urban constituency, it's very easy. When we say the WDC, you can go and see them. But let us look at rural constituencies like Mwinilunga. I remember when we went on a parliamentary committee to Mwinilunga, where Chief Kanongesha stays, from where the municipal council of Mwinilunga is, it is 150 kilometers. And probably the WDC has to collect the forms and take them to council where the CDF committee is based. Then how does he move 150 kilometers without money? So the WDC as key stakeholders, they were supposed to be funded with something, even a transport allowance to allow them move. Particularly those who are in rural areas, they have a lot of challenges, and this has also contributed to the slow implementation of CDF because of the challenges that are there. You'd find the WDC has been holding the forms for almost a month. He doesn't have money to take the forms 150 kilometers from Chief Sailunga or Kanongesha to bring them to Mwinilunga Boma or CBD of Mwinilunga so that he can drop them. He doesn't have money. He has to stay until you find money, or probably there would be any other form of transport through which he can send those documents. So I am a supporter of the idea that our CDF, our WDC members must be funded, and they should be entitled to an allowance.
I love the emphasis of that. Macmillan, before we leave officially, before we close this conversation, what are your recommendations as WDC when it comes to implementation and utilization of CDF, especially on the part of implementation?
I'm unable to get you clearly. Seems like the network is not good here.
What are your recommendations as WDC in the implementation of CDF? Okay, maybe we seem to have bad connectivity with Macmillan's point of view. Honorable Lubosha, if I heard you clearly, you are refuting to allegations that there is corruption in the implementation of CDF. You also don't support, and you wouldn't support the idea that, for example, CDF committee members should be elected. Is that the correct picture you are putting across before we conclude this conversation?
Yes, I think I've given my reasons why. We are living in a multi-party dispensation where if we said the CDF committee needed to be elected, there would be a lot of politics at play at this stage. And probably all those people that go through in the CDF committee, if it was to be elected, they are members of the opposition. Do you think such a member of parliament would be able to carry out his duties in that office when he's working with the entire 10 of them elected members and they are coming from an opposition? They will even pass a vote of no confidence in him that we don't need him, there is nothing that he's doing. So there would be a lot of politics at play. Number two, identifying the electoral college who will be voting for these people. Again, we go to partisan politics. Each political party who feature their own candidate. This one, it would be, we want political party A, political party B, political party C, political party D. We want those to be in the CDF committee. So in that case, it will be very, very difficult. That's why I said it is just like TIZ suggesting that cabinet ministers should not be appointed by the president, they should be elected. There is a reason behind why cabinet ministers have to be appointed by the president. In an event where they are not performing, he has the right to remove them and replace them. And it gives impetus to the president to choose the most competent people to work with in order to carry out his vision during the 5 years he's in the office. This is not far different from what a member of parliament would also want to do whilst in the office. He has the mandate of the people. As things stand here, the entire Chifubu population is looking to Honorable Lubosha. What is he going to do for the 5 years we have voted for him? So if you are going to bring a lot of people in CDF to disturb the program Honorable Lubosha wants to do with impunity and different political motives to make him fail, then CDF is a misdirected priority. So this is a more reason we are saying, let the member of parliament be in control of the CDF, because he's the one who was elected by the people. He's the voice of the people. He should not have challenges and obstacles in doing what he wants to do for the people in the name of being transparent. Some of all these people who are claiming these issues, that's why the members say, when we are going to have several ideas, it will lead to confusion in the implementation of CDF. This one wants this, this one wants this, this one wants this, this one wants this. At the end of the day, CDF would be a failed project. So in the form the CDF Act is, just needs a bit of some amendments to speed up the process in the implementation of CDF. It's just certain amendments to speed up the process. If papers used to go to the minister in Lusaka and then a constituencies in Mwinilunga or Mwansabombwe or Chavuma, you take the papers there. This time around, we want those papers to be signed locally so that CDF programs can run fast. Like what my WDC there on the program said, that some of the projects have not been undertaken, they have been delayed. And these WDC councillors are being insulted by the people because of the length of the process. Papers have to go to Honorable Gary Nkombo to sign all 156 constituencies, CDF projects, CDF bursaries, CDF grants, CDF loans to be approved. That's when they will go to their various constituencies. We are not looking at the Lusaka setup where you Kanyama, tomorrow you can go to the office of the Honorable Nkombo there, you sign and you walk back to Kanyama. We are looking at Mwinilunga. We are looking at Kasempa. We are looking at Chiengi. We are looking at Vubwi. It will take Petauke Central. We are talking of Momba. We are talking of Wengwa. Those are far-flung places. They have to pick the papers here. So when we amend the act and these documents are being signed locally, it will speed up the process in the implementation of CDF. And we are going to see that CDF is a game changer and is a driver of development in the constituency.
All right, thank you, Honorable Lloyd. So just a quick one as we come to the end of our program. I want you to answer me this question as a servant, for the people of Chifubu constituency. Did the CDF funds for 2022 get dispersed? Like, was all the money dispersed in 2022?
CDF for 2022. I want to confirm that Chifubu constituency received the total 25.7 million kwacha. We received the money, yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable. Over to you, Josias.
Honorable, you were on the floor? You were on the floor?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was saying that we received all the money, and I want to confirm that 5 million for the grants, 2 million has been dispersed in the grants, and 3 million is just about to be dispersed. We have just appointed the agent bank, which is NatSave. It will start now giving the loans to our people in the constituency. Then the 5 million for the skills and bursaries has also been dispersed to all our people, and 1,350 have stood as beneficiaries from the 5 million for the bursaries. 15 million for the 15 million, which was reduced because we acquired a car and other administrative costs that are subtracted from there. We remained with 13 million kwacha, and this 13 million kwacha was divided amongst the projects that are currently being undertaken in the constituency. I'm happy to report that we have done very well. Whether they say you cannot honor yourself, I should be saying Chifubu constituency currently is the best in terms of implementation of CDF on the Copper Belt. We are the best. We are leading and others are following. And most of the viewers participating on this program who live in Chifubu and Copper Belt, I'm sure will attest to this fact that I think Chifubu is one of the leading constituencies in the implementation of CDF on the Copper Belt, if possible in the country.
Sorry, Josias, your mic is muted. Josias, can you hear me? Okay, we can get to you, Macmillan. Your closing remarks, as we wrap up the program. Macmillan, if you can hear me, you can share your closing remarks. Macmillan, if you can hear me, you can share your closing remarks as we wrap up our program tonight.
Thank you so much. Are you able to get me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yeah. As Mukuni ward, we are so much delighted to the new Dawn government for what they've done so far in Mukuni chiefdom, Mukuni ward. We had 650,000 kwacha, which was allocated towards the Nsongwe Bridge in Mukuni ward. And we had also 125,000 in Chenkwazi zone, which was allocated in roofing a 1x3 classroom, which was blown off by heavy rains in 2021, and it was done in 2022. The roofing was done in 2022. And we also had 650,000, which was allocated right here in Gundu, Mukuni Central, towards water rectification. And in 2022, I'm glad to say that I was one of the beneficiaries who was sponsored under skills bursaries at Libes. We are glad to the New Dawn government for what they've really done. And last year, we also had 4 students who had applied for boarding bursaries. They were also sponsored. And this year, the number has exceeded to about 40 to 50 people who applied, and they are yet to be sponsored. When it comes to skills bursaries, the number has exceeded this year. We have over 100 compared to last year when we had 43. So this is a plus. We are saying thank you so much. Mukuni village is benefiting under CDF.
All right. Thank you very much, Macmillan. So Macmillan is the vice secretary, rather, for the WDC in Mukuni ward. Over to you, Honorable Lloyd Lubosha. Your last remarks, and I want you to focus more on the corruption aspect, how people can, report corruption in the management of CDF in your constituency, just to ensure that everyone benefits from the fund.
Thank you so much. Number one, I would like to thank the organizers and the sponsors of this program to be accorded an opportunity to appear on this platform to explain very remarkable and significant issues pertaining to my constituency under the CDF. I also want to thank His Excellency the President, Mr. Kainde Hichilema, for increasing the CDF and considering the plight of the people of Zambia across our country by giving them CDF. Surely CDF is a game changer everywhere. Every member of parliament who failed to retain his seat, I think it's just unfortunate because he just failed to perform. Money has been given to all members of parliament. They have to be proactive to make sure that they embark on the utilization and implementation of these funds. We hear some members of parliament who are lamenting that CDF up to now is still sitting in the account. I still stand to disagree with them that they are not just proactive. With us, we have utilized all the money and projects are almost at the completion stage despite starting a bit late because of the length of the program, of the processes, of the documentation processes. Yes, I want to urge the members of the community in Chifubu constituency and the entire nation in the 156 constituencies that please continue to provide your oversight role to check that the implementation of CDF is being done in a transparent and professional manner so as to benefit the intended targets in our constituents. It is very, very important. Provide an oversight law and remove politics in the process by creating pictures that are not obtaining on the ground. If you are not a beneficiary this year, doesn't mean that CDF is not working. Just keep on applying. Next time, you may be the next beneficiary. So it is indeed important where you see any form of corruption being practiced, you are free to report those through my office, or you can report through independent offices such as the Anti-Corruption Commission and provide evidence so that such corruption can be probed in order to ensure that this national cake is being shared equitably amongst our people, and the intended targets are benefiting from the CDF, because this is the primary objective of government, is to bring the services closer to the people in various constituencies. So once again, I wish to thank the people of Chifubu for being patient during the period of delay in the implementation of our part of the CDF program. Skills grants were implemented, but the projects delayed. We have moved at a supersonic speed, beating even constituencies that started early. All the projects for 2022 were delayed, so we did not do any project in 2022. We have started the project in 2023, and it's very shocking and surprising that we are within 2 months, we are almost reaching the completion point for all the projects. And I want to assure the people of Chifubu that for all those contractors who are undertaking the projects in Chifubu constituency, not even one has been paid even in way. The projects are at roof level using their own money. No money has come from the CDF account to pay any contractor at this stage. The implementation, the building, the structures you are seeing coming up beautifully in constituency, we have insisted that contractors must use their own money and complete, then they are paid. At least when they go up to about 80-90%, that's when they can claim about 25% to finish up. Once inspected and handed over, then they paid the remaining amount. And this method has worked to our advantage, because most of the contractors are on their toes to ensure that the projects are completed. We are very thankful, appreciative to the platform organizers, to the sponsors, to the listeners across the country. We are grateful and thank you for participating. Looking forward to the next invitation on this platform.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Lloyd Lubosha. Yes, so before I hand over to the host, for more information on CDF and how you can report corruption, visit our social media page, which is Alliance for Community Action, and our website. You'll find more information on how you can report CDF mismanagement, or you can dial 5980, which is the line for the Anti-Corruption Commission. So if you spot any corruption activities in how CDF is being managed, don't hesitate to report. You can also find other information on the CDF on our website, like how to apply for project loans and grants as well. You can find all that information on our website, which is www.scazambia.org. Over to you, Josias. Okay, it seems we are still having a network glitch with Josias, who is our host. But I would like to thank you, everyone, for joining us on this platform where we've been discussing the management of CDF and utilization, as well as how we can fight, corruption in how these funds are being managed. Remember that CDF is your money because you are the rightful beneficiary, which is public resources. Join us next week on Thursday at 20 hours for another episode of this program, as we have another guest to run us through these discussions. And you can come through with your comments, contributions, and concerns as well. And our guests will be able to, attend to those concerns. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. See you next week. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you so much.